Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the stocks that were in play on Friday. So first up, we're taking a look at Alibaba here. The news came out here that he was going to retire early, and as you can see here, the shares did jump on Friday during the regular trading session. And usually, when a key insider retires, it's not good for the share price. Now keep in mind, he has not been the CEO since 2013. Well, in after hours, the Alibaba ended up dropping 2.3% on the news that the founder was going to step down on Monday. So it jumped all the way up to not tomorrow but the next day. Supposedly he's going to be stepping down. As you can see here, he hasn't been CEO since 2013. But in after hours trading, it did head lower. It's currently over here on the right. You could see 158.60. It was at 162.37 in regular trading. And so if we look here at the BABA chart, you could see here it had already been pulling back super hard. There was this big volume spike here back in a couple weeks ago. On the drop, it failed to hold the middle Bollinger Band here. There was the big volume spike, and then it dropped down lower. There is this small gap up here. What happened is it broke below the 400-day simple moving average, and then it's also been riding below the pink line. That's the EMA 4, currently at 164.49, and so that's the big level right now. It needs to get above 164.50 to head higher. Now currently in after hours trading, now it's all the way down at 158.60. On Friday, bullish Haremy reversal pattern did form, but now it looks like it could have a gap down open. That is, if it ends up trading lower on Monday. If you look here at this BABA chart, we had a target over here from back here in August. There was an unfilled gap, and so we were looking for that gap to possibly fill, and that did happen on Thursday. And so Friday was the technical bounce day. Many times when a downward gap fills, you get a technical bounce, and so it was bouncing off of this 160 support zone. As you can see now at 158.60, that's putting it below the bottom of the gap, and so that is going to be a big resistance level to break. It's going to have to get back above 160. If it fails to break that level, that's going to signal downside risk. Okay, and then now you're looking at potential pullback to these lower levels. It could easily pull back to the 152 level. That is a target that we have right now, and I'll show you on the next chart. It's got to get above EMA 4 to get the reversal going. If 160 is resistance, that is going to signal downside risk. If you look at the BABA weekly chart, you can see here it's pushing lower. Once again, it's in a downtrend on the chart. It's below the middle Bollinger Band, below the 50-week moving average, and it looks like it's headed for the 100-week moving average. That's currently at 152.42. So look for a technical bounce off of that level. If it failed to hold, that would be a major red flag. But if it holds when it's tested, that would be a nice level for a technical bounce. Okay, let's look at EA. This is Electronic Arts. All right, so this has been heating up. It's in a nasty downtrend right now. It did have this big volume spike. It had the giant volume spike, and then they pulled it lower. There was a small gap between these two candles, and that did fill. The gap did fill on Friday. And so what has to happen now is it's got to get above the 400-week moving average, or 400-day simple moving average at 115.58. That's this black line here. If it can get above that level, then it's EMA 8 at basically at 117, at 162.92. What makes it interesting, it closed above the pink line. It closed above EMA 4 at 114.47. Right now, that's the stop loss level. If you're trying to play the bounce here, it needs to keep closing above that level to head higher. If they close it below EMA 4, that's going to signal more downside risk, and you could see the recent lows retested. Okay, so keep an eye on EA Sports. Take a look at BLPH here. This stock is heating up. Yeah, you could see this is a chart that we were working on. It ended up making a nice move on Friday. We were on it earlier in the day, and it did end up closing up 20%, so congrats to everybody that was on this one. It ended up having a cross crossover here on ADX with plus DI crossing minus DI. They were pinched when the chart was initially made. And then, yeah, what happened here is it broke out above high close horizontal resistance. That was the closing price here on the 22nd. And so the close above that level is signaling more upside potential. You can see it had a tight channel going for a couple weeks. What you want to see now is you want to see it stay above the orange line. That is EMA 13 at 90. Okay, you can see EMA 4 and 8. They're all converged at the same level, right? 90. That's going to signal more upside potential, and it could work its way up here to these moving averages. They're all converged up here, basically right around 175 or so. That's the 50-day simple moving average. That would be the target if support holds and it gets a new uptrend going. You know, it has to stay above 80. That's the middle Bollinger Band. That would signal downside risk. What it needs to do is stay above this channel. If it got sucked back into that channel, it could start going sideways again. Notice the big volume spike. When this chart was made, the volume was at the level of this line down here. So it was really light volume when we caught this in the morning on Friday, and you could see volume really poured in after that. Yeah, so that was super cool. Check out the PSAR bull flip. So the green dots flip below the candles. SAR stands for stop and reverse, so parabolic stop and reverse. So it's a signal that this downtrend could be stopping and possibly a new uptrend could be beginning. You could see there was already crossovers on MACD on both time frames. Okay, take a look at BKS here, Barnes & Noble. Yeah, it's bouncing off the lows. You have RSI back above 30, Fasto above 50. Check out the crossover here. The red line crossed below the black line to the downside with plus DI spiking, and that's a signal the bulls are heating up. There was a big bounce on Friday. You could see there was a bounce on big volume. There was a big volume spike on Thursday, and then boom. On Friday, there was a close above EMAs 4, 8, and 13. So that was a really big close above resistance. It needs to stay above 528. If it failed to stay above 528, that would be a red flag. You know, it definitely has to stay above $5. Right now, that's the stop loss level for the stock. If it got below that level, that would be a sell signal. To the upside, it has to close above this level right here. This is the 200-day simple moving average at 543. If it fails to break that level, that'll signal it's not ready to go. Had really good volume. There's the PSAR bull flip again. It did form bullish Haremy reversal pattern. It was confirmed. Okay, so there was a bullish Haremy reversal pattern with these two candles here, and then the candle on Friday confirmed the bullish Haremy pattern. Okay, so yeah, so nice move for BKS. We'll see if it can follow through. Take a look at GALT here, GALT. Yeah, closed up 9%. It bounced while in an uptrend. Yeah, RSI and Fasto are both still in the bull zone. You know, plus DI is cooling down here with the bearish crossover there. You want to see the green line get back above the black line if you're a bull. It bounced off of the green line here. That's the 50-day simple moving average. It also bounced off the gold line. That's the 100-day simple moving average. It basically needs to stay above 550. You know, if it dropped below that level, that would be signaling downside risk. Right now, the 50-day simple moving average is at 540. That's the big level to stay above. If you look back here in May, you know, when it broke above the green line, then came back down and it held, it was able to launch higher. And so that's what you're looking for here if you're a bull. You're looking for it came down, it filled this little gap here with the red candle on Thursday, and then now it's bouncing, and then you're wanting to see it break out higher. It has to get above this 650 level. That's the big level to break. That's where the closing, you know, just right around there was the closing price on the first trading day in September. If you look here, bullish Haremy reversal pattern, the one I just mentioned, that did form for GALT on Friday, and so we'll be looking for bullish reversal confirmation. Okay, take a look at CVM here. Has a really strong uptrend. This is a chart that was made back here on the 13th of August. So it was made on this day right here where this white candle closed above the dotted purple line. That signaled the possible start of a new uptrend. You can see here it was breaking 89 cents. And yeah, it turned out to hold and ride EMA 4 the entire time. It's been riding the pink line, and it's been a great multi-week swing trade. So congrats to anyone that caught this. initial alert, you know, it's up well over 200% from that time. And so now it's worked its way back up to this June level. It's filled the jar. If we look at the next chart here, you can see how it's filled the jar back up to the June resistance level. And so it closed above the high close there on the 19th of June. That does signal more upside potential, but it's got to bust through the top of this resistance level from back on the 18th of June. If it could do that, it could keep pushing higher. And now it needs to keep holding EMA 4. That's the pink line here at 324. Once they finally let it close below that level and it turns into resistance, that's going to signal that it's ready to consolidate. As long as it's holding, the signal is to keep riding. It looked like it could take a breather when it formed this long upper wick on this big volume spike. It looked like a climax spike and it could pull back, but it pushed higher on Friday. So where could this be headed? We'll take a look here at the weekly chart. You could see here it's trying to bust out on the weekly chart. There was this multi-month sideways channel, and so you can see the top of the channel is pretty much right here. You can see all these candles are trying to bust through it. And so on Friday last week, there was a weekly close above the top of this multi-month channel that goes all the way back, you know, basically 2016 after that big drop. And so if it could stay above 350, that would be super bullish. If it came down here and it dropped below the close from back in June, the high close of the year, that would signal that it could consolidate and it could come back and test the 100-week moving average at 242. That is the downside risk. If it stays above 350, it could keep pushing higher, and what you're looking for is a run up to this 550 resistance zone. That was support from back here in October. Okay, yeah, so let's look at GOL here. This stock had a nice bounce on Friday. You know, it's bounced before above the EMAs 4 and 8, but it pulled back. The close above the pink and the green lines here are signaling more upside potential. If it stays above 517, then it's in play. If it were to close below, that would signal more downside risk. If you see it trading above and closing above 561 next week, it could possibly get a new uptrend going. So yeah, keep an eye on it. We'll see if it can break resistance. MACD is punched and it looks like it's ready for a bullish crossover. Okay, if you look at RIOT here, you can see it's had a big pullback. It was down 24%. Now you have RSI at 30, so it's getting ready to break below that 30 level. Fasto's at extreme oversold levels at 0.8, so that was a nasty drop. Look at that big red candle. This is a chart that was made back here on this red candle, and so the target when that was made was down here at this 450 support zone from back in July, but it failed to get down there. It bounced before and they ran it higher. But this candle right here was the red flag. You know, that was signaling there's some danger here with this stock. And I mean, there has been lots of danger, but you know, that was another red flag. And then the bad news came out this week. It was already on a 4-day drop. It's well below the lower Bollinger Band. What it needs to do for the bulls is to get back above this 450, 460 resistance zone. You know, that you don't want to see that turning into resistance. This is a big support level. It needs to get above that lower Bollinger Band at 460. If it could get back above that level and hold it, it might be able to work its way back up again. You never know. People like to trade this. You'll know that if there's more downside risk, if it fails to get back above 450, that's going to signal you know, that it could keep pushing lower. If you look here, there's a bearish crossover on MACD on both time frames, and so that is signaling the possible start of a new push lower. If you look here at RIOT on the weekly chart, you can see where this is possibly headed. You know, look at the weekly chart. It's been cooling down. You've got RSI now at 39. Fasto now is way down here at 0.47. Look at plus DI here. So now you have the red line just crossed over the green line. It closed above for the week. That's a bearish crossover. You know, the last time that you had a bearish crossover, I mean, was way back here. And so, you know, tried to do it here. Yeah, having the red line above the green line, it's just a signal that the bears are taking control. So if you're a bull, you want to see that green line get back above the red line. If the red line starts pushing above the green line, that's going to signal the bears are in control. Okay, look here how it's dropped below the low close from July. If that level turns into resistance, you could see it drop down to this September support level, which would put it down here in the 3s. So yeah, just above 3. You know, there was this tight channel from back here, you could look, there was a multi-month very tight channel between these two levels here. You could see it come back down and get itself caught up in this channel again. That would be a red flag. If you're a bull, you want to see it bounce off the top here. Closing below the red line there, that's the 200-week moving average, currently at 536. That is a red flag. That does signal downside risk. It's just, it's in a downtrend, and yeah, it looks like it could head lower. Look how low the volume was. It wasn't like there was a huge volume on the drop. And yeah, so we'll keep an eye on RIOT, and we'll see if it's going to head down there and test those threes this week. Okay, and then let's check out, yeah, and if you look here at RIOT, it had you know, yeah, the big percentage gains on the put options. You can see here some are up nearly 3,000%. So yeah, it was a big day for RIOT puts. Yeah, let's look here at PBYA here. So I'm going to finish up here with this OTC stock. You can see here it had this big drop, and then it had a bounce down here, and then it got moving. There was a big volume spike on Friday, and it closed right at the 50-day simple moving average. So that's currently at 53 cents. If you see it trading, or not 53, but 0.53. And so if you see it trading above 5.3, it could possibly run up here to the 11-cent level, and to the 100-day simple moving average at 11 cents. So that's the upward target if it can stay above 5. If it fails to break above this 5.3 resistance level, it could pull back and test 3 down here. That's where EMA 4 is currently located. Okay, this is for the penny stock players, and congrats to everybody that was trading this in the chat on Friday. That was a big winner. Okay, thanks for viewing the video.